Love's for beginners, ain't no winners. It slips through your fingers, I ain't telling no lies. So F all the drama, F the karma. Just do what you wanna, promise you got time. Be you and keep looking forward. Don't you look backwards and you'll be fine. Come through and say what you need to. Don't let them put you down. Baby, let me tell you what it feels like. Being independent, no trouble inside. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Let me tell you what it feels like. Being whose mama, yeah, treat yourself right. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Come get your future, know you wanna. She'll never betray ya, she ain't telling no lies. So break the glass ceiling, find your meaning, make truth out of dreaming, yeah. Baby, let me tell you what it feels like. Being independent, no trouble inside. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Let me tell you what it feels like. Being no one's mama, yeah, treat yourself right. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Be you and keep looking forward. Don't you look backwards and you'll be fine. Come through and say what you need to. Don't let them put you down. Baby, let me tell you what it feels like. Being independent, no trouble inside. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Let me tell you what it feels like. Being no one's mama, yeah, treat yourself right. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. Cause baby, you deserve the best in life.
I just had a bit. Is it September the 12th?
13, sir.
Oh God, I'm the wrong date. 13?
Yes, sir.
You said 12 earlier.
Where did I go to? I was something 10. Oh God, I hate this.
Oh look, it's going everywhere. Hang on. Has anybody got a wrong?
Where is that?
Oh look, it's everywhere.
Can't bear this bloody thing. What are they doing? Everyone's stinking.
Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. How's everyone today? One in the chat if you can hear me, please. Welcome to the Sunday podcast. I will be taking up to, okay, should I be generous? 4 callers. The first 4 people that want to come in and chat today, if you want to say anything, I will take 4 callers today. So let me just post the link because I know that some of you probably have quite a lot to say about the whole Jeremy Clarkson shingamadig. So if you want to join the chat, here is the link. All right. Right. I am almost at 13,000 subscribers now. There are almost 500 of you in the chat, and I think there's only maybe 95 people until we get to 13,000. So if there's anyone in the chat who isn't yet subscribed, please do hit that subscribe button. And let's see if we can get to 13,000 before the end of the week would be lovely, but certainly to hit 13,000 before the end of the year, that is an incredible accomplishment and an incredible community. But thank you to everyone who's been here from the very beginning and everybody who's joined since. Right, these in the chat. See if I can spot any new names or names that I don't usually see. Sheila Bursley. I don't think I see you too often. Are you a regular? A silent one? Kathy Rose Lou? Marine Pride. Let the games begin. Yes, let the games begin indeed. Listen, y'all, in the last 48 hours, I have seen such a turning in the tide. I mean, this documentary series has really done a number. And instead of reacting with sense, the palace courtiers and the royals are reacting in anger. And I've actually just come to realize that, we treat courtiers like, these grand shadow men. The fact of the matter is that they are likely no different actually from the Jeremy Clarksons and the Piers Morgans of the world. And the women who work in the households are likely the female versions of that as well. So it's no wonder that they just seem to be acting not like royal courtiers of the British monarchy, but literally just trolls. The courtiers and the people within the palace walls at this point are just acting like trolls. Like, anyway, Clara Cadora. Hello, don't think I see you too often. Who else here? All right, and hello to all our usuals as well. And thank you to the mods. You are really doing the Lord's work as always, because the trolls have really been coming in this past 2 weeks. Thank you so much, Elaine Parker, for the super sticker. Much appreciated. Right, let's get to it. We'll start with some positive news. Just give me a sec. I have to toggle with a setting on and alrighty. Right, let's start with a positive news story. Argentina! Argentina won the World Cup. Congratulations, Argentina. It was a fantastic match. Did you all watch the match? I am not a football fan. I really don't watch football that much. I've tried to make an effort more recently to watch more of the women's game, to support the women's game. But just in general, I've never been a big football fan. I really only ever watch around, World Cup, Euros. But today's match was phenomenal. It really was an amazing game. It went to like 30 minutes overtime, and then they went to penalties. There's this really funny picture of Messi making fun of Piers Morgan and his best girlfriend, Ronaldo. Apparently these two are just buddies now. I don't understand why. Off the pitch, Ronaldo doesn't exactly always make the best decisions, and being interviewed and buddy with Piers Morgan is just another one of those bad decisions. But congrats to Argentina. Any Argentinians in the chat? Are you celebrating? Right. Some sweet news. In the Harry and Meghan documentary, we saw a picture of Lily, and she was wearing this very cute baby bodysuit, and it was actually by a lady on Etsy. So now we know that Meghan really loves to shop on Etsy, because this is I think maybe the fourth or fifth time I've seen her with an item from an Etsy store. So the lady called Sabrina, and Sabrina said that she only discovered the order was for Harry and Meghan after her sister sent her a text message shortly after the episode dropped. She explained it said Petite Lily. It immediately sounded like a familiar name I had embroidered, so I searched my previous orders and found that I had indeed made it, the stay-at-home mum explained. She sent me a screenshot and I was stunned. I called my mum and told her because I knew she'd freaked out with me. Now, thanks to Lily, Sabrina has seen a huge increase in demand for her onesies. I have already noticed an increase in sales and activity on my shop site and social media. She admitted, I am a tiny bit terrified since I do each embroidery by hand myself. My poor fingers. So how sweet. This is actually from a stay-at-home mum owned store. And the store is called About Another. So you can check them out on Instagram. And also, please check out Meghan's Closet Chronicles. That's at Meghan's Closet Chronicles on Instagram. I think that she might actually have her account on private, so you have to wait until she approves you. But she has been doing such an amazing job of IDing almost everything in Meghan's house. Like the pots, the pans, everything. In Meghan's bathroom, she hasn't just been IDing Meghan's clothes. She's been IDing literally everything. Meghan's aprons. I think she does the most amazing job of any of these kind of like Meghan fashion ID websites and Instagram pages. So please go check her out. It's Meghan's Closet Chronicles. And yeah, the Meghan effect in full force again. Also, this popped up on my Twitter feed. Now, originally when Earthshot prize aired, the views were at 4.4 million. Now, the claim that I heard was that the live feed only had about 300 and something viewers. So how the Earthshot prize got 4.4 million views, I don't know. And I also read somewhere that was like 4.4 million views was double what Billie Eilish got for her live online show. There's no way that Prince William is pulling in more than Billie Eilish. And something happened with the views, and somebody posted this on Twitter and said, how odd. The Earthshot video has been removed from YouTube, but what's even more interesting is that the number of viewers of Earthshot prize has once again been altered from the previous 4.4 million to 206,000. And then the video was removed. So that indicates that perhaps the views for that video were bought. And that maybe YouTube removed it for bot activity, possibly. Having to buy engagement. Right, the Daily, onto the BS. The Daily Fail has done what we knew they would and blamed Meghan for the Queen's death. You get a free Queen calendar with your Daily Fail today. And they've put Megxit drama harmed Queen's health. Not Andrew being a whole alleged sex offender, but her grandson moving out the house and making his own money and not living off of welfare. That's apparently what harmed the Queen's health. And of course, they go with Meghan on the cover and Megxit and not Harry. But, well, that's on the print version. On the online one, they've got a picture of Meghan and Harry there, saying royal insiders fear Megxit harmed the late Queen's health. Stress caused by Sussex's fallout with the royal family had a detrimental effect on the elderly monarch who was already burdened with mobility issues. If you actually listen to what Harry said in the Netflix documentary, he said that William was shouting furiously. His father was saying things that weren't true, and the Queen was just taking it all in. To me, that says that the Queen was clearly being handled and pretty much can't, or in that situation, couldn't say anything. And this was at the Sarandon Summit, mind you. So the monarch had no say. It was William screaming and shouting. But somehow it was Harry and Meghan who caused the decline of her health. I don't even think that the Queen saw the Oprah interview. I don't think Philip saw it either. Wait, to your comments. Maggie, according to the UK, the people are not happy with the Doctor series. Even Piers Morgan has to say. Well, of course Piers Morgan has something to say. Every opportunity he has to put Meghan on his lips is going to take that opportunity. I think that the opinion of the documentary is pretty split, but I think most normal people, most straight thinking people, are just saying, you know what, this is a couple that had issues in this very toxic family and they moved away. I think most people are actually quite ambivalent to the whole thing. You have the loud minority who have hated Meghan since day one and just got more confident with their vitriol because the press allowed them to. And then you've had those who have always supported, but I think most people are just ambivalent and are just going, well, what is wrong with this dysfunctional family? And I think after the Harry and Meghan documentary has come out, a lot of people are saying, oh, I can see why they left. There were clearly issues. And certainly in the last 72 hours, this whole situation with Jeremy Clarkson, I think, is the first nail in the coffin. Not just for the royals, but for the British press. Those of you who have been listening to my podcast for a while, how many times have I said on this here podcast that sooner or later, the British press and the royal reporters are going to become the story. They are now the story. Because now the world is looking at them. And now the world is realizing, hang on a minute, these people actually aren't as legitimate as we thought they were. And there is something very wrong with the UK press. Now, I don't know why they didn't see that during the phone hacking scandal, but apparently they didn't. They managed to make that disappear. Everybody got a slap on the wrist and we continued. But I think this with Harry and Meghan has really begun to change people's perceptions. Joyce, they are acting in anger because they know it's hitting home globally. Yes, absolutely. Katarina, so the tide has turned. On TMZ, the comments are all calling out the royal family and saying that they always spread fake news around Harry and Meghan. I'm glad people are waking up. This might actually be why, in a very desperate attempt to turn around the narrative, TMZ actually had toilet bowels flapping his gum. Does TMZ know who their audience is? The TMZ audience is not interested in toilet bowels, even if he is yip yapping about Meghan. Oh, Sheila, really good store. I ordered 2 swimsuits from there. Okay, nice. I'll definitely check them out. Kids and Door, Duchess, I read your post about Jeremy Clarkson's daughter speaking up for her father. I'm sorry, Jeremy Clarkson needs to put on his big boy pants and apologize publicly and privately. He's not going to apologize. Do you know what he tweeted today? This is what he tweeted. Really? Really? Come on, France. This guy was watching the footy and having a beer. And looking at that saggy, unmoisturized face of his, he looks like he's had a hell of a lot of beers throughout his lifetime. He was not concerned one bit. This was Jeremy Clarkson today, watching the football. You are not going to get an apology, I'm afraid, from someone who is being sanctioned by the palace to go after Meghan. It's just not going to happen. Karma will do its work. And as far as I'm concerned, anybody who is tethered to the royals is on a sinking ship. They're on a sinking ship. So if this is the road that Jeremy Clarkson wants to go down, let him go down it. I actually don't want him to apologize because when he finally does get his karma, it'll be even sweeter. Let karma take care of him. This is why I also think that there's nothing to be gained, I think, by Harry and Meghan going to that coronation. Someone tweeted this. They Sorry, folks. I think I'm back now. Are we back? Can you hear me now? Are we good? Oh, thank you. Oh, don't worry, folks. I'm gonna be out of this house in like 2 weeks. So hopefully, in 2 weeks, we should not have these problems anymore. It's been a nightmare in this. You have been with me since I moved from my old place. We've been having these problems, but hopefully that'll be a lot better where I'm going. Okay, so I was saying, somebody tweeted this and they said a reminder that this docuseries was wrapped up before what happened to Harry and Meghan. Ooh, before what happened to Harry and Meghan during the week of the funeral of the Queen. They did this as a last duty for the Queen and was abused like no other. I can't see them doing this for someone they don't like. And we don't know whether or not they're going to go to the coronation, but I just don't see that there's anything for them to gain by going. They're going to be made to be part of a circus. They will be used for the headlines. They will be abused. And I do believe that Charles's coronation is going to be met with protests. You've already got people throwing eggs at him. You've already got every time he goes to Wales, people egging him, people were booing him in Scotland. You had a Kate being told Ireland belongs to the Irish. So I think that the whole coronation is going to be a circus, a disastrous circus. And if Harry and Meghan were bold enough to allow conversations about colonization, about reparations, about the questionable nature of seeing the royals as anointed by God, and that was actually said by their CEO of Archwell, mind you, if they were bold enough to allow those things to be said, would they show up to the coronation? I don't know. Anywho, yes. So we'll get back to the whole Jeremy Clarkson thing in a minute. But this happened. Sharon Osbourne was rushed to the hospital after she fell ill while filming a paranormal TV show in California. Was it the Ghost of Diana? It was a paranormal TV show. It must have been. Sharon has been more than nasty to Meghan, so I'm pretty sure that that was the Ghost of Diana. In other interesting things happening to the haters news. Lorraine Starr King is also splitting from his actress wife after 7 years of marriage. This is the one who they sent to Montecito to stalk Harry and Meghan. My mother told me if you can't say anything nice, don't say nothing at all. I'll go to your comments. Light side, you said, I'm gonna just state firmly, I do not want Harry and Meghan to go to the coronation, full stop. Yes. They genuinely seem to have a strong respect for the Queen, so I can understand why they went for the Queen. But given that it was Charles who cut Harry off, I don't know. I don't see them going for the coronation. Or I just can't think of a legitimate reason why they would want to go. Especially after this week. And Piers Morgan himself said that the palace had thanked him for standing up to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Those were his words, and there was that picture of him standing outside Kensington Palace. I mean, you'd think they'd be more secretive about their evil, but I feel the reason why they're so brazen is because they know that there is a part of the tabloid reading British public, especially, who supports them. Otherwise, they would not be so brazen as to say things like this and then go for lunch with Camilla. I mean, what is the British public even paying for now when we talk about the royals? We're paying for them to do silly things like this. So during the Harry and Meghan documentary, Meghan said that she wore toned down clothes as to not overshadow the other royals. And by complete coincidence, all three of the royal women showed up in burgundy coats that all looked the same. So they literally watched the documentary, sat down with their comms team, and decided to be this petty. This is what we're paying for. We're paying for a group of dysfunctional adults to be petty. That is what we're paying £100 million of taxpayer money for this circus. Who does this? But they make fun of reality TV stars? I mean, is this not real royal housewives of the UK behavior right here? As Dr. Zane said on Twitter, and I agree, she said, any organization that engages with the royal family on domestic violence, mental health, maternal health, violence against women, equality, climate change, homelessness, basically anything that's deceptive, fraudulent, and must be condemned. Yes. There's over 3,000 organizations that are linked to the royals. And every single one of those organizations, especially the ones that deal with any of these things listed, needs to cut ties. After this whole Jeremy Clarkson saga, there should never be another school or nursery that allows a royal to visit. And if there is, I think we should raise some noise. Because why on earth would you want your children to be around people that engage in behaviors like this, or are friends with people that engage in behaviors like this? That article where Jeremy Clarkson wrote what he did, there was more. I'm not going to read what he wrote, the part that's actually going very viral again. But this was the other part. Yes, if you didn't think it could get any worse, he also said in that same article, and now it seems that she has her arm so far up his bottom, she can use her fingers to alter his face expressions. I actually feel rather sorry for him because he's just a glove puppet with no more control over what he says or does than Basil Brush. But then along came Meghan, who obviously used some vivid bedroom promises to turn him into a warrior of woke. Disgusting filth. And it's always the most raggedy, geriatric, old dudes, jealous. I mean, I wonder what it is about this beautiful, intelligent, overachieving, biracial woman that makes men like Jeremy Clarkson just lose their minds. Can't imagine what it is. Lorna, if you don't hear it from Harry and Meghan, it's not true. Yes, I agree. Because they have no access and we know that. And on that, actually, there is a story going around that Anderson Cooper is doing an exclusive interview with Harry. The only place that I have seen that is in the Daily Fail. And the only time I'm going to believe that is if I see it with my own eyes, but that is the rumor that is going around. What mad wisdom. The monarchy cannot survive without the love of the people. That's why whoever distracts from that love will be destroyed. Diana, Harry, and Meghan. Yeah. Well, Diana, Harry, and Meghan could have brought this waste institution into the modern era. But they're too consumed by their own interfamily petty jealousy that no one else is allowed to be popular or liked. That's a second strike. Third one, you're out, Karen. Light side. Uh, all right, let me go through your comments before we continue. Yes, Leslie. Sharon Osbourne is friends with Piers Morgan. And yes, Sheila, she was fired from The View. She was also fired from another show. And she's just been going round in circles. Marianne, I think Charles Attal is aware that Harry and Meghan will not attend the coronation, but they want to spin it to sound like they will not invite them. Oh, well, there's been a couple of articles running around the UK tabloids saying that they have been invited, that that Charles wants to extend an olive branch, these olive branches. They're just stripping all the trees of Italy of their olive branches. And I think that Charles at least is trying through leaking to make it look like he's not being malice in any way. Um, Mackenzie, I think Camilla dining with multiple enemies and no statement condemning Jeremy Clarkson was probably the last straw for the royal family and any possibility of attending the coronation. Yeah, I think so too. LA, I would love to see all the rags readership just tank. Well, interesting that you should say that because I looked into the Sun's readership because the Sun is where Jeremy Clarkson's article was originally posted. And I found, where is it now? I found this. Give me a sec. Did it load? Maybe it didn't load. One moment. Oh, here we go. Right, yes, I found this on Wikipedia. So, To what you said, LA. In February 2020, it was revealed that daily sales of The Sun had fallen 8% to 1.38 million in the year to July, but at the time, the publication remained the biggest selling paid for paper. The Sun, so that's just the print. I think online it will be different with the figures. The Sun on Sunday sold an average of 1.16 million copies a week. 111,000 fewer than the year before. Newsgroup newspapers reported that The Sun lost 68 million in 2019, with sales falling as the company continued to deal with costs arising from the phone hacking scandal. So they're still making a lot of payouts for the phone hacking scandal. And there is potential for the upcoming court case with the other celebrities, Harry, Meghan, who else? Elton John, and others, to basically make them bankrupt. In April 2020, News UK instructed Audit Bureau of Circulations that its circulation data should be kept private. Right, so they're trying to keep the circulation data private and would only be shared with advertising agencies in confidence. In May 2020, The Sun's 42-year run as the top-selling paper came to an end when eclipsed by the Daily Fail. In the year ending June 2020, the newspaper posted a pre-tax 202 million loss. 202 million loss, a significant increase from 67.8 million the previous year. I guess you could count COVID in that, but that is still a very big drop. The majority of the loss, 80%, was thought to be from payments in damages from the phone hacking. Wow, so they're paying out a lot of money. So by the time all the phone hacking payments have been paid out, they could well be bankrupt. I mean, I want to know how they're actually still running at this point. Although revenue from sales, they're running from hating on Meghan. Although revenue from sales and advertising was being affected by the C-19 pandemic, the value of the newspaper was written down by 84 million, in effect to zero, with the company believing that The Sun and The Sun on Sunday will not return to growth. So it's very unlikely that they will actually return to growth. So yeah, by the end of the upcoming court case, they will likely be bankrupt. Yippee. Yes, Joyce, Charles needs to stop briefing and just quietly contact his son, although at this point, I mean, those bridges have been burnt, have they not? I mean, Harry and Meghan did say, just as a reminder, in the Netflix documentary, I've had to make peace with the fact that we're probably never going to get genuine accountability or a genuine apology from my family. My wife and I, we're moving on. We're focused on what's coming next. Moving on and focused on what's coming next. Meaning, Roya Nika, you liar, Roya Nika the liar, what you wrote yesterday was fan fiction. Roya Nika wrote this. Roya Nika, by the way, is the one that wrote that infamous Other Brother feature that had William on the cover looking like an officer from the First Order in Star Wars. Harry and Meghan want a royal summit and an apology. A source close to the Sussexes said. A source close to the Sussexes said, basically, more BS that I'm making up, because they have no access. Every single time they say a source, it just verifies everything that Harry and Meghan said. Because who are the sources? They have no sources in Montecito. And any sources in the palace are literally the courtiers and the royals themselves who are briefing to the journalists. Keep telling on themselves. VE, I saw an article that said they have been invited, if it's true, only because they will be the highlight of the whole shit show. I have no plans of tuning in. Neither do I. Well, I don't know. I might, just in case we see more of Charles throwing a tantrum. I'm going to watch the coronation just to see if there's drama. I will take one for the team and do the reporting for you. I'm not watching out of interest. I'm watching with the hopes that somebody, you know, like slips or something on a banana. Levy, Jeremy has made racist comments before. It's clearly done him no harm. Yes. He's made several disparaging comments before. He made a comment about, I think there were about 500 complaints to Ofcom about truck drivers killing prostitutes, and how it's also a really tough job being a truck driver. You do all that driving and then you got to kill a prostitute or two. Like, it was something along the lines of that. And it's interesting with these so-called comedians, how so much of their comedy seems to rely on degrading women. And then they're labeled as, oh, they're just being edgy, they're just being idiotic. No, they are low-key incels expressing their hatred of women through their so-called comedy. Call it what it is, because there's a lot of them that do this. They need to get new material. Marie F., we need to boycott the newspapers and pseudo-journalists who hate. I think that smart people do, but hate is not just profitable. It gives people who don't have a lot going for them something to preoccupy themselves with, something to make themselves feel better with. I think when we're done talking about the racism in the situation, we need to start talking about Britain's self-loathing. Because, honey, that's a whole nother conversation. Whole nother conversation that needs to be had. The tall poppy syndrome that we suffer from in this country. When you see one person doing very well, build them up, cut them down. You can't have anyone going too high. And it creates this culture where somehow we don't like seeing other people be very successful. You have to, you have to always be very what do they call it? Oh, there's a word for it. Is it called my mind's gone blank. I know there's a word for it and I'm going to remember it. Okay, I'll come back to that point. But it's like you always have to kind of put yourself down a little bit and not be too proud of yourself, not be too proud of your accomplishments, not be too glam. But at the same time, we pay £100 million a year to this crazy family who have never worked for anything. It's just weird. It's weird to me. Oh, did someone? Maggie Margaret. And happy holidays and thank you for keeping us up to date. Oh, well, thank you for always being here. Thank you so much, Maggie. Much appreciated. Sharon, Jeremy and Pierce and William, no, they don't have a chance this. They don't have a chance near Meghan, and that's what got their boxes in a bunch. Camilla is the head of the horse, Pierce is the belly, and Jeremy is the A double snakes. Yes, I agree with you there. It's just so sad. And they're trying to paint this whole lunch as the most glamorous thing that happened this year. Richard Eden, the one who got hashtag Prince William affair trending. And look at what he tweeted. He tweeted, conversation must have been lively at Queen Camilla's lunch in Mayfair this week with Piers Morgan and Jeremy Clarkson months of guests. This is from Clarkson's fortnight column in The Sun. And yeah, so this is in print, what I read earlier. So basically just admitting that these group of bullies, what, did they all just meet up to bitch about Meghan? Is that it? They have nothing else to do. This is what Britain is paying for. A frat house that does nothing nowadays, it would seem, other than hate on Meghan. Even more interesting, because fools of a feather fly together, the lead editor of The Sun is a woman called Victoria Newton. And here she is with Charles in September of 2020. September of 2020. There she is. I was with Charles. Oh no. Sorry, 2022. So this was just September gone. She said, I was with Charles on his last working day of the Prince of Wales. He hosted me with typical generosity. So just before this guy is getting coronated, well, not coronated, but just before, the handover begins, he goes and meets with the head editor of The Sun. That's his priority. Not what are we going to do for the British people? How am I going to stay in the good graces of The Sun? That was Charles's priority as he enters his kingship. Now, Victoria Newton was also on Laura Kusenberg's show this morning, and Kusenberg allowed Newton to claim The Sun was fair to Harry and Meghan without raising the Jeremy Clarkson column at all. She didn't raise the column at all. That is media solidarity at work. And I bet before the show, she was probably told, you can't ask Victoria about this. And Victoria was one of the dirty dozen who was embroiled in the phone hacking scandal. And in fact, when she was at the Daily Fail, she wrote articles based on information that was gathered in phone hacking. And now she's the head of The Sun. And now she's signing off on articles by Jeremy Clarkson saying that they want a woman to be stripped naked in public and have excrement thrown at her in what sounds like the most deplorable type of pornography you could find on the internet. Literally inciting sexual violence against women. Gross and disgusting group of people. Natural Mystic. Netflix mostly got hate watch reviews. Very interesting. Oh yes, I'm sure there are so many people who are watching who are hate watching. I'm sure there's people who watch my podcast who hate watch. Hi haters, thanks for the views. We know the other royals aren't that interested, so you have to stay with us and stay obsessed over Meghan. Here's a pretty picture of Meghan hugging children that actually want to hug her. Keep coping. Gemini, accepting and moving on is probably the healthiest thing that they can do now. I think so too. Crack me up. Other brother, the king in waiting. Yeah. Charles really looks like he's hanging on. Unless he can slip some poison in the royal kitchens and get that in Charles's tea, Charles is still going to be around for at least 20, 30 years. Hi, Rahini, you're never late. Crazy. At this rate, the olive trees are going to run out of invisible branches, claimed to be extended. Somehow they never seem to reach the Sussexes. Child is despicable. Sonia, I'm going to watch because I've never seen one. Neither have I. A lot of the coronations with the royals on mainland Europe, a lot of the countries on mainland Europe decided to stop doing coronations. So, aside from British royals, that's probably why I've never seen one. Because other people who are more progressive decided all of that was quite ridiculous. Oh, right, give me one sec. Diane, Murdoch paper group are anti-Meghan. Yes, this is another thing. I hope that people don't forget to mention that this is a Murdoch-owned paper, and he should get as much blame for all of this as Victoria, as Camilla, as everybody in the royal household. It's everyone. And Rothamir, who owns the Daily Fail. Because the article where you saw them all having lunch, that was a Daily Fail exclusive with Daily Fail paparazzi. And it would appear that there are some advertisers also who are trying to pull because they don't want their products being put against articles like that. Valerie, it is said that Rishi Sunak used Ofcom to control Netflix and other streaming services. Yes, so apparently Rishi Sunak is going to look at having Ofcom be like a governing body for Netflix in the UK. And apparently, what the headlines are saying or leaking is that this is off the back of the Harry and Meghan documentary. Now, if it's specifically off the back of the Harry and Meghan documentary, well done, Meghan. Your power apparently got Rishi Sunak, the lazy prime minister, to get off his backside and do something. Clap, clap, clap. I just if it's true, it's because of the Netflix documentary. That's just ridiculous. Oh, thank you so much. You said the word that I was trying to think of. Self-deprecating. Yes. Yes, we have a toxic culture in the UK where you are expected to be self-deprecating. I don't like being self-deprecating. I actually think it's very toxic. It's good to have a controlled ego, but I think that when you're self-deprecating, it's like negative self-talk, and you shouldn't have to tone down your accomplishments and who you are. If you're feeling like you have to tone down or you can't be overly ambitious or dream big or do big things, then there's something wrong with the people around you. You're not the problem. You need a new crew. Thank you, everyone. Completely lost my trail of thought and couldn't think of the word. Oh, thank you. Is it MLC for the super sticker? Much appreciated. Thank you. Gemini, looking forward to Harry and Meghan raising 2 skateboarding, surfers, Stanford attending happy golden children of the great state of California. Yes. Be gone, Saltine Island. Those 2 kids are gonna do some amazing things. And they've got 2 amazing business-minded, creative, expansive, multi-talented parents to look up to. So sky's the limit for those 2. Suyi, I don't know why anybody expect any different from Camilla. Isn't she the one who broke up Harry's family? Well, her and Charles. You know, Charles could have just said, "Do you know what? I'm going to dedicate myself to my wife Diana." Even though I still think their age gap was incredibly creepy, he could have been loyal and loved Diana. He could have made that decision. But instead, he went for Camilla. Gross. Imagine fumbling the bag like that. The ultimate fumbling of the bag. Ellen Vernon, thank you so much. Is it just me or does she look like a blow-up doll in the picture? Wait, who are you talking about? Are you talking about Sharon Osbourne? Are you talking about her? My mother told me if you can't say nothing nice, don't say anything at all. Let Ellen Vernon say it instead. It's Julia. Hi, haters, love wins. Sylvia, has the women's group been complaining about the Sun? Women's groups have always complained about the Sun. Those of you who don't live in the UK, the Sun is notorious for page 3. And on page 3, they put a topless woman for the titillation of men on their daily commute. What was interesting is there was an article that the Sun posted some time ago. If I can find it, I might actually show it to you in tomorrow's podcast. But they have a they have a topless woman on page 3 every single day. Well, actually, I don't know if page 3 girls are actually still there because people made such a thing of it. I think they may have taken it away. But what I was going to say was there was an article that they wrote where they were talking about how it's not acceptable or it's gross for a woman to breastfeed in public. So they're more than happy to put topless women on page 3, but they also write articles where they say that breastfeeding women are, gross and not, acceptable in public. So that's the Sun newspaper. That's how misogynistic and gross this paper is. The controversies surrounding the Sun newspaper are long and many. There was the controversy surrounding the Hillsborough disaster. Again, for those of you who aren't in the UK, this was an incident that happened at a football match where people were crushed. Kind of like a similar thing to Astroworld. This happened some time ago. And the Sun newspaper tried to paint the victims as basically hooligans. And it was crushing, absolutely crushing for the families. And for years, the families fought for justice against the Sun, for the way that their family members were made to look like hooligans and criminals when they were in fact victims. So this is just who the Sun newspaper is. People have been complaining for a long time, but other people, day in, day out, pick up a copy of the Sun. So what can you do? You can complain, you can tell the advertisers to pull, but if people are still reading, there is always going to be an advertiser or a brand that will, put their product in the Sun. So until people stop reading, there's really not a lot that you can do. It has to die a death based on people just deciding we don't want this paper or online blog anymore, and we're going to stop consuming it. But I don't think they will. Because like I said, hate is not just highly profitable. I think it's loved. And Meghan was just a perfect canvas at the perfect time for people to throw their hate up against. I mean, look at what's happening with like Meghan the Stallion. It's not lost on me that all of this is kind of going on, and I think Sophia Noble touched on this. All of this is kind of going on at a time where there is this increased like negative energy towards women and girls. And I think a lot of it, because of the ability that it gives you to remain anonymous, a lot of it is coming out online, but it is also slowly spilling out into the streets. And that's what makes what Jeremy Clarkson said so dangerous. Because if there is a man out there, or even some crazed Meghan hating woman out there, who reads that, it legitimizes how they feel. How they feel maybe about Meghan and wanting to harm Meghan, or how they feel about women and wanting to harm women. No, I've never seen a coronation. I won't be wasting my time watching this boring crap. Don't worry. I'll watch the boring crap for you and then come and report. Yes, Farron. The British public needs to take responsibility also. Because this is all reflecting very poorly on the British public. All right. Oh gosh. You know what? I was gonna take callers, and then I think Mina Ruth was in the chat, and bless her, we have actually been going on for like an hour, and it looks like she's left. So Mina, if you're still there, I will take one or two callers. There's a link. I will still take 1 or 2 callers if anybody wants to come in just quickly now. So sorry you've had to wait for so long, but I think I'm pretty much done with the slide. Oh, Jeremy Clarkson's daughter did, come out and offer an apology. She wrote 2 posts. I'm not going to read the long one, but a summarized version of what she said in the long one was, "My views are and have always been clear when it comes to misogyny, bullying, and the treatment of women by the media. I want to make it very clear that I stand against everything my dad wrote about Meghan Markle, and I remain standing in support of those that are targeted with online hatred." Now, I think it's very noble of M. Clarkson to come out and say that. However, I will also say that I don't think that women should be made to apologize for, the behavior of the men around them, unless, of course, she actually conspired with him. I don't think that she should have to apologize, but I think it's very noble that she did. Right, Mina, you can come up and speak, sweetheart. You there?
Yes, I'm here. Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, hi.
Hi, hi.
Let me see. I'm just so sick and tired of people. Like I'm really am.
Mhm.
Like if you don't like her, just say you don't like her and go on about your business and move on. Like
Mm.
for real. There have been some comments that I looked at that I had comment on a post that another person had did about them watching the whole Meghan series. It was a bit of half and half, and I had put my 2 cents in, of course. Um, most people liked it, and then there were like 2 comments that just got to me. It was one that got to me that I looked at, and I'm like, nope, let me not look at it. And then there was another comment from the same person and a different person. Now, this one person had wrote a comment about Princess Diana saying she wasn't a saint and that uh 2 wrongs don't make a right. I guess regarding to Prince Charles and both of their infidelities, but it's like, okay, what did you expect her to do? Just sit there and take it?
Yeah, and I think when people say things like that, they're not taking into account the dynamics of power in that situation. Charles being the
Yeah, that's
one with
true.
a lot more power than Diana.
Yeah. And to me, it just came off as if it was all her fault. But I'm like, certain people just don't get the picture or the situation about it as far as like the hierarchy, if I say, if that makes any sense.
Hmm.
And then
Yeah,
the
because
comment was,
it
I'm
it
sorry, go
absolves
ahead.
Charles of any. Oh, sorry, I was just going to say it absolves Charles of any responsibility. Because did she say anything about Charles in that comment?
Well, yeah, it was 2 comments, but they were different. One was about Meghan and well, about Meghan and Harry, and one was about Charles and Diana. This one particular person said that Diana wasn't a saint. She cheated, and yes, 2 wrongs don't make a
Right.
right because Prince Charles had cheated as well. Basically, she
Mm.
was saying that they were both wrong for cheating on each other, but to me, it just came off as if you putting all this blame
Yeah.
on her.
Yeah. You can't compare the
Like,
two.
yeah, so I made a statement about that. And then another statement that I made regarding to Harry and Meghan was that they did the work that nobody else did in that family. And I also brought in to say that Princess Diana and Meghan were the ones that were doing the work. If it weren't for them, would we even be sitting here talking about the royal family to this day? I don't think so.
Yeah.
I'm just so sick and tired of people, especially, oh Lord, I hate that I have to say this, but especially ignorant. I ain't gonna go there. But I'll
Yeah.
use the phrase all skin folk and kinfolk. I'll just put it that way.
Mm. Oh yeah. Especially in regards to what's on the screen right now.
Yeah.
FYI, the shade room actually got to this story, and the comments were everything that you would expect from the shade room. Somebody writing, "What in the color purple hell is going on here? I'm embarrassed. Stand up. What in the buffoonery is this? This just makes me
Oh,
mad because girl,
oh yeah, regarding
stand
that
up."
woman. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And not just that, but like black people having a dislike towards Meghan. Okay, you don't like her, okay, that's fine. But to go beyond by just not liking her for some automatic reason, why? Because she don't, or as they put it, don't claim her blackness. Like, I don't get that. There's plenty of mixed
Yeah, but
people.
she's biracial. Like, if she wants to
Yeah,
identify as biracial, then she wants to identify as biracial.
yeah, that's true. And then not just that, but I think, um, I guess I don't know. It could be jealousy, or it could be just some other crazy reasons. I don't know, but I'm just sick of it. Like, put yourself in her position, and then
Mm,
somebody in your family who was married into that sort of family. How would you feel if they
mm,
dogged them out? That's how I see it.
mm, mm,
I'm just so sick of people. It's beyond ridiculous.
mm. Do you feel though that in the last 2 weeks with the documentary coming out that there is a bit of a turning of the tide? Do you feel a little bit more hopeful after the last few weeks, or?
Um, I want to say yes. I'm not sure. I don't want to bring no negative thoughts or negativity to it, but I'm always hopeful that
Mm,
things will change and get better. I really am. But time will only tell.
mhm. That's true. All right, thank you so much, Mina.
You're welcome.
No worries. All right, I think that was pretty much all I had to say. I don't think there was any more slides I had to do. No, there was not. Anyway, as always, folks, I do believe that there has been quite a turning of the tide. Um, it's interesting that it took for Jeremy Clarkson to say something that was just so vile to trigger people. I mean, I even saw Philip Pullman, famous author, tweet something about this. Um, but what Jeremy Clarkson said is in a very underhanded way other people have been saying for the last 6 years. So I just find it interesting that it took for Jeremy Clarkson to say something so vile, but the death by a thousand cuts that has been happening for the last 6 years and that we have had to bear witness to. We were crazy, we were using the woke card, we were using the race card, and now some of y'all get it. But hey, we got here. We finally got here. And I do think that this is a major turning point. Major turning point. And yeah, we'll see how the palace comes back from this. Do they continue to associate with Clarkson and Piers Morgan? Because now people are saying, well, hang on a minute. Meghan was here saying that, you know, you're creating a situation where somebody wants to kill her, but you're fraternizing with the likes of Piers Morgan and Jeremy Clarkson, who are basically trying to incite violence against her in articles on one of the biggest papers in the country. So was she lying? No, she wasn't. Was Harry lying when he said in the Me You Can't See to Oprah they won't stop until she's dead? No, he wasn't. You're proving them right. And with that, I will close with your comments. And thank you, everyone, as always. Oh, thank you to Kathy A for the super sticker and Ginger Lily as well. Wishing you happy holiday season as well. Thank you. Mm. Legs, she said, I don't know what was in that text that Boldy sent, but how could he just act as normal in public when he sees them? At least Kate stayed evil. No, I still saw some side glances from William, but he does seem like the type of person that is very good at putting on one face in public, and then he'll just go incandescent in private, like Harry said. But yeah, it's crazy to know that it was Jason Knopf leaking to the Daily Fail. But I wonder if they even expected Harry and Meghan to go to the funeral. A lot of, I think, the bashing in the press, I think, was to perhaps stop them from going to the funeral. And they were, at least in the household, perhaps surprised. But it just so happens that they were in the country anyway. So they might as well have just stayed for the funeral. Light side. So about that, some black folks are saying, well, how could she have experienced racism? It can happen in an area like LA. Meghan is white passing, but she respects and embraces black people. Yeah, I mean, you know, the black community is always asking biracial people to acknowledge the privileges that they get for being lighter skinned and biracial. And that is exactly what Meghan is doing. So when she says, well, when I went to the UK, that was the first time I was treated as a black woman. Well, is she not then also saying in that black women are treated unfairly? Like, why are we dogging her for speaking about her experience openly? Or I don't get it. I just don't. And I don't know, maybe there's perhaps some Americans who don't realize that in the UK, even though Meghan herself identifies as biracial, in the UK, she's black. That 2 drops of melanin, she black. And they sure as hell treated her like a black woman. So, yeah, I don't know what some black people's beef is. Some people feel, well, you know, she married into this institution with the history that it has, but as far as I've always seen it, she married Harry. Meghan was Meghan was not responsible for the hundreds of years of raping and pillaging. She married Harry. So I don't know. Some people are always going to have their beef. I don't get it. And as far as I can see, they are doing their best to give back to diverse communities, including the black community. So what their beef is, I don't know. All right. Who's going to get the last word of the day? Can be fine. Harry is still breaking out of that abusive relationship with his brother. Well, he said in the Oprah interview that there's space. There's space. Travel, it's like they really learned nothing from Diana's death. They have learned nothing. No. I think you're dealing with a bunch of narcissists. Like, what are they going to learn? A lot of them, unfortunately, were quite happy that Diana was gone. Mad Wisdom, you said, hate of Harry and Meghan is a distraction from the people suffering from the loss of their standard of living. Yes. Harry and Meghan look the other way while the hand is stealing behind us. Yes. Lily, I can't get over that. That woman crawling on her knees to Charles. Yeah, neither can I, but don't worry. Maybe there's somewhere that we can send her.
I'm not upset with y'all because I know you're mentally ill, which is why one day I'm going to open up a hospital for mentally ill Africans. I'm going to hospitalize you coons because I care about you. and I love you. You're part of our family. I cannot let you go and do what you want to do. I care about the coons, brothers and sisters. I care about the coons, brothers and sisters. We're going to open up a mental health rehabilitation hospital for political coonery. We are going to treat the coons, brothers and sisters. We can't leave them out there. We have to treat the coons. The Dr. Papa Mental Health Hospital for coons. We have to rehabilitate the coons, brothers and sisters. Let us save the coons. We have to do this. We have to do this.
H Knight, in the US she's black also. But wouldn't there be some people that would just say that she's biracial? At least the people who seem to be quite irritated by her. And it's, you know, like I think it was Lightside that said, you know, if you're growing up in a place like LA that's very multicultural, it's not completely unfeasible to say that she had never directly or overtly dealt with racism. That's not completely unfeasible at all. You know, not all racism is obvious and in your face that you would know that it's happening. So, you know, even like me growing up in diverse London, you know, it's only until I got into the workplace that I really started to experience it. I can't say that I experienced it overtly before that. Um, wait, sorry, just try and get up your comments before we go. Shill Stewart, in the States is the paper bag test of colorism. Yeah, I've heard about that phrase, paper bag test. Joanna, she never said that she didn't experience racism. She said she was treated worse than she have been treated once in the UK. She said, I was treated like a biracial person in the States. Yeah. Anna, you said it's the same in the US. It's called the one drop rule. Okay. Aditha, you said Meghan is just telling her own experience. Meghan is black, but in America, if you look white, they'll treat you white, but she still grew up with a black mother and saw firsthand the struggle. Yes, through her mother, right? All right, folks. If anybody wants to give us a last word of the day, you're laughing at Dr. Umar. I don't actually like Dr. Umar. By the way, I find him very problematic, but I just found that video to be completely hilarious. I feel like he's become a caricature of himself. I can't take him seriously, but I just find that video so hilarious. The Lady Day, that's a long conversation. And yes, I think maybe we should have a conversation about this whole being seen biracial versus black in the UK and the US. I think that is a conversation that we definitely need to have. And because maybe I don't entirely understand it from the American perspective. All right, Sonia, I'm going to give you the last word of the day. Love wins. Where is it? Yes, love wins. And please don't be like this fool over here crawling on the floor. Be like this wonderful lady over here. Looking glam, smiling, and living your best life in Montecito. All right, folks. I will see you tomorrow. Ciao.
Love's for beginners, ain't no winners. It slips through your fingers. I ain't telling no lies. So F all the drama, F the karma. Just do what you wanna. Promise you got time. Be you and keep looking. nature. Know you wanna, she'll never betray ya. She ain't telling no lies. So break the glass ceiling, find your meaning, make truth out of dreaming. Yeah. Baby, let me tell you what it feels like. Being independent, no trouble inside. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Let me tell you what it feels like. Being no one's woman, yeah, to yourself right. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Be you and keep looking forward. Don't you look backwards and you'll be fine. Come through and say what you need to. Don't let them put you down. Baby, let me tell you what it feels like. Being independent, no trouble inside. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Let me tell you what it feels like. Being no one's woman, yeah, to yourself right. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life.
Question: Did you get a chance to meet with the royal family? And if not, how was it like having them there in the building?
Jesus, Mary, and Joseph?
The Prince and Princess of Wales.
Oh, no, I did not. I'm only familiar with one royal family. I don't know too much about that one.